two geriatric old pensioners trying to relive their youth.
Good morning, I'm Mike Graham, he's Mike Parry, you're listening to the Two Mikes on the warm-up. This is TalkSport, of course, massive FA Cup weekend. We've got all four games right here on live commentary, beginning with Middlesbrough against Manchester City. We've got Arsenal taking on, of course, Lincoln as well, and we'll be giving you the benefit of our thoughts on all of that. There's also a big Premier League programme. Porky's just back from Wigan, where he was launching his Porky Scratchings. I'm just back from New York, where I was launching all kinds of other things. We'll be telling you all about that. We'll have a 1 minute moan, and lots more besides. 08717 22 3 and 44. You're listening to the Two Mikes on the warm-up right here on TalkSport. This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mikes. We've been going our separate ways of late, but we are back together. Time to say a very good morning to Mr. Mike, a Porky, a Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
A very good morning to you, Mike. And as usual, you know, you put the knife in again, don't you, on the north of England?
What do you mean?
Yeah, just
I
a few minutes
you've been
ago.
in Wigan.
Just a few minutes ago.
Or have you not been in Wigan?
Hang on, you didn't say that. You said that I've been in Harry's Bar in Wigan, as though it's some sort of flea pit. And you...
Well, I don't know what Harry's Bar in Wigan is like.
And you stressed... And I've been in Harry's Bar in New York.
Well, because you told me to...
good for you.
You told me you were going to Harry's Bar. I assumed you meant the one in New York. That's why.
Right, can I tell you something?
Tell me something.
If somebody offered me the choice now of a first-class flight to New York to go and have a cocktail in Harry's Bar in New York, which is in which hotel?
It's in the Park Lane Hotel.
Thank you very much indeed.
Central Park South.
Or somebody offered me what I did. That was a first-class seat up to Wigan to have a few sherbets.
And back again the same day.
Yes.
You didn't stay the night, did you?
Yes.
Why not?
Because I had to get here to make sure that this show didn't
get
fall
here
to pieces
about
in my absence.
8:30, 9 o'clock.
Or I was offered the first-class seat to Wigan, to Harry's Bar, to meet the local townsfolk, share a few pints with them, reminisce about their lives as working-class people in one of the greatest parts of England. If I had the choice between the two, I would go to Wigan, Lancashire.
OK, so you won't be interested in what I've got to tell you about our trip to New York in September, then? You'd rather go to Wigan, would you?
What?
You'd rather go to Wigan, would you?
What are you talking about?
We're going to New York in September.
By the way, what's that nervous twitch in your eye?
What nervous twitch?
And your lips keep going.
My lips do not keep going.
You've given up smoking.
I have given up smoking.
You've got a twitch in your face.
No, I haven't got a twitch.
Oh, perhaps it's just normal then.
I think that's just normal. Yeah, it's probably the first time you've been actually wide-eyed and bushy-tailed enough at this time in the morning to notice such a thing. I'm quite impressed, actually. I thought you'd be looking half dead.
Well, I'm quite impressed with you, I have to say. I mean, I don't pay you compliments often because you don't deserve compliments often.
You never pay me any compliments.
As Winston Churchill once said of a political opponent, here's a very humble man with much to be humble about.
Indeed.
And you are
to me, though,
a man who doesn't need compliments because there's nothing to compliment you about. But anyway, the fact that you've given up cigarettes for how long now?
Since Wednesday night.
Since last Wednesday night?
Well, just Wednesday night, not last Wednesday.
And you haven't weakened?
No.
How are you feeling?
OK.
Well,
if I make a decision, right, I do it. That's just all I do. I don't need any artificial aids.
Yeah.
I don't need any vaping equipment.
No, OK.
I don't need any nicotine pills or, nicotine patches.
Well, if there's anybody out there who wants to give us a call and tell Mike Graham the hell he's going to go through, because apparently the first 6 weeks are the worst.
I've given up smoking before, right? But
The
trouble is, the last time I gave up smoking, it coincided with me being sent to Bosnia.
Yes.
And in fact, I still managed to stay off the fags while the bullets were flying.
Yeah.
So I figure if I can do that, I mean, working with you is marginally more annoying than that. But, I mean, I should be OK.
Was it Bob Hope who said, giving up smoking? Easy, I've done it 100 times. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
Anyway, the number on the show here is 087... Bob Hope, yeah.
Why are you quoting Bob Hope?
Hey?
You might as well quote Charlie Chaplin. I mean, that's how old he is.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, he told it first. Right, it's 08717 22 4. Do you admire Mr. Graham for giving up smoking?
Of course
or is
I do.
At his age, is it worth it? I mean, is it
What do you mean at my age?
Well, I mean,
I'm considerably younger than you are, for a start. You're just annoyed, as people have pointed out on Twitter throughout the last sort of 48 hours, because you won't be able to bum any cigarettes from me anymore.
What?
You won't be able to bum any cigarettes from me anymore.
Well, the things that I thought about when you said you were giving up smoking, the thoughts like that came into my head. You won't be begging every member of the TalkSport staff, presenters or backroom boys who go abroad to bring you back
I don't beg anyone to do
free, duty-free cigarettes.
That's not what I do.
Yes, you do.
No, it's not true.
Yes, you do. You try to bum cigarettes off them all the time.
Incorrect.
You do.
No, that's not right.
You won't
Well, I didn't buy any duty-free cigarettes coming back, right? So that should be proof enough to you that I'm absolutely committed to this.
You won't be embarrassing me in some of the finest places that we go to by crashing through the fire exit doors, which are usually locked and chained, and you're desperate.
I always make sure that whenever we do a live show, that I have easy access to a smoking area.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or walk, 2.5 miles to, some sort of patio outside just to have a cigarette.
Would you like me to publish all the pictures I've got of you smoking my cigarettes?
No.
Would you like me to send them to Dr. Banner? See what he makes of it.
Everybody knows they're just props.
Maybe he'll stop treating you.
They're just props for pictures.
Say, never mind Mike Graham giving up cigarettes and whether it's too late for him.
Yeah.
It's certainly too late to give you any more of the free treatment that the NHS has been so good at providing. If you're going to waste your breath on smoking.
I know from medical knowledge that even though you've given up now, it will take 25 years for the filth of the nicotine in your big toe, because they get down as far as your big toe,
That's not true.
to be emitted from your body.
That's not true.
Anyway, talking about...
it'll be in about 10 years, it'll be clear.
No, it won't, honestly.
It will.
Sooner. Anyway...
Well, you'll be dead by then anyway, won't you?
Maybe.
You said you're only going to live another 5 years.
Well,
Isn't that what Banner said to you?
Well, acute heart failure is something that gets you. It got George Michael, sadly. Rest in peace.
Failure. Yeah, everybody else who's had acute heart failure does actually end up dying of it. But you certainly don't.
Anyway, you should turn to healthy things like pork scratchings, because I was up in Wigan with the good people of Wigan last night.
Have you brought me any?
You've had a packet, haven't you?
No.
Haven't you?
No, I've never been given anything.
I'm not giving you any free packets.
Why not?
I am some sort of charity. Do I look
so
like
what? I have to buy them, do I?
Do I look like a charity?
How much do they sell for?
Depends where you're buying
like
them.
a retail price?
No. Now, what I wanted to say to you was that in Wigan last night, thank you to Openshaw Snacks, because we had a great party.
Did you have any journalists up there covering it?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Print, media.
There were a couple of print journalists
social
getting a bit ornery last night.
Yeah,
Twitter.
Yeah, there were actually. Yeah.
I wondered if you'd been over entertaining them.
Well, if you tell a little joke like this, if somebody goes onto Twitter and says, I missed the plane in Russia, and admit you missed it because you were late, and then you come back and you moan about Manchester Airport, disgraceful, getting through and all that kind of
security,
stuff. And then
try going into Kennedy, mate.
Exactly, yeah. And then you send out little jokes saying, you're not having much luck in airports.
Yeah.
Did you get a degree in aviation aggravation studies?
I thought that was one of your clever reports.
Which I thought was quite funny.
I thought it was very funny. I laughed at it.
And then you get abuse hurled at you by a former colleague who has completely lost his grip on life.
He seems to have.
And who has woken up this morning, I would imagine, feeling rather embarrassed with himself.
Got a great one here from Rob, who says, anyone who tries to take on, troll or maliciously insult the two mics must be in La-La land or just plain a dipsy. And a good picture here of some of our foes from the Teletubbies, which is brilliant. Because, the number of people who are now blocking me and you and the two mics is raising, is sort of legendary now.
Absolutely, it certainly is.
Tremendous stuff. So come at us if you wish.
Yes.
But be prepared to be given a good shellacking, I think would be my advice.
That's right. Right, now we're talking FA Cup with Trade Point.
Yeah, we are, because there's a lot of great games going on this weekend. I mean, culminating, I suppose, with the big one, Manchester United against Chelsea on Monday. But, I mean, what about these headlines I'm seeing today about could Lincoln be this year's Leicester? I mean, there's a chance they could beat Arsenal, isn't there?
No.
No,
I don't.
I don't
think so.
Sure?
Well, I think beating Burnley at Burnley and going to the Emirates to play an Arsenal team who are literally fighting for their professional pride today.
They are.
And those footballers might get paid, I don't know, over £200,000 a week, but they are not going to take kindly to being belittled by a non-league team.
No, and it didn't work when Sutton played them, did it?
No, it didn't. No. So I would say no. In fact, I'd have to be really rather cruel here and say I envisage a sort of 6-0 type score.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I'm afraid because
a bit like Arsenal and Bayern Munich.
Well, the thing is, it's almost a free sucker punch for Arsenal. They've got to come back from the disgrace and the embarrassment.
But it's a kind of no-win for them, isn't it? Because even if they do win by a big number, it'll still prove nothing.
I totally agree. But if they only won 1-0, then the crisis would deepen, wouldn't it, so to speak? You know what I mean? They've got to try and make the
now. When I was away in New
Champions
York,
League an aberration.
Obviously, I was trying to keep abreast of all various developments.
Well, in between going into Harry's Bar and rooftop bar that you sent us pictures of.
Rooftop bar I went to, that was in Manhattan. Well, I was seeing my mother, by the way, who was also in Connecticut.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. But I thought you were just on a like a booze crawl in Manhattan.
Of course, I delivered that
the winery
fine present that you sent to her,
yes,
right?
Yes.
And imagine my surprise and her shock when she opened this package to find a sort of shopping bag in it.
Well, it was a very expensive designer.
You buy them for £1 at Waterloo, those.
No,
I've seen them.
How rotten of you to say that?
People on Twitter were absolutely horrified.
It was £16. And we're talking about the FA Cup anyway, right?
Yeah, all right.
So, what I'm telling you is this. Yeah. Are you going to name me the 4 teams that are going through?
I am.
Go on.
Manchester City.
Yep.
Arsenal.
Yep.
Chelsea. Spurs.
Yeah. Okay.
That is what I think.
Right, I'll tell you the 4 we're going through, okay? Yeah. Manchester City, Arsenal, Tottenham, and Manchester United.
Yeah, you think United are going to win that game on Monday?
And do you know why?
Why?
It's not just because I think that Jose's, got his libido back and got his act together, but remember, he was beaten 4-0 there early in the season. You don't take kindly to that sort of thing. And I think United are geared up for cup competitions this year because they can't win they want to win the Europa League because they can still get into the top
4 if they play their cards right, couldn't they?
Well, I think that's fading a little bit. I think the insurance policy is try and win the Europa Cup. Now, if that's the case, then in my mind,
hang on, they're only 3 points off the top 4.
I know. But in my mind, Jose has got cup competition victories.
And they've got a game in hand on Liverpool, who are 3 points ahead of them.
Yes, that's right.
So I mean, there's absolutely every chance they could get into the top 4.
There is absolutely every chance, but I honestly think that first of all, he wants to ensure Champions League. That's why he's taken the Europa seriously. But secondly, a trophyless season, his first season at United, is not good news. I know the League Cup's already in the locker.
They got a draw, didn't they, the other night in Russia?
The draw the other night in Russia. But what I'm saying is people are making more and more reference to the fact that Liverpool once had a treble, but it wasn't the big treble. Yeah. It was the second treble. I think that's what he's after.
Yeah, maybe. But Conte probably would also quite like to have a double, which would be the FA Cup
he'd like it very much.
And the Premier League in his first season. And there's no team really that's better than Chelsea at the moment.
No, I totally agree. But you could say that of every season. You could say of every season there's no team better than the team that wins the Premier League. But they don't very often win the FA Cup.
Yeah, but I mean they're so far ahead in the Premier League, right? That they are kind of sweeping all before them. And it's very unusual for them not to win a game. I don't think we shall see. Well, that's good that we have 2 different opinions on it.
What
about Pep Guardiola? He's saying in a couple of the reports I've read this morning that if we don't win anything, as in Manchester City, then I will consider that a failure.
Yes, well, he's right.
So they must want to win the FA Cup more than they want to win the Champions League because the Champions League maybe is not so easy for them.
Well, of course it's not easy winning the Champions League, particularly as Barcelona is still in it. I mean, we all thought...
What a game that was.
Fantastic.
Do you know, I was at Kennedy Airport about to fly back.
Yes.
And you wouldn't know that it was even on.
Really?
I mean, I was getting my information, obviously, from Twitter and all that.
Yeah, which bar were you in at Kennedy?
I was in a bar called... I can't remember the name of it, actually.
No.
But I was in a bar,
So far we've got the winery, we've got the Harry's bar in the Park Lane Hotel.
Bar.
Got the rooftop bar.
Yep.
Where else was there?
I went to a place called the Slaughtered Lamb.
The Slaughtered Lamb.
Down in Soho.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So I can't remember the name of the bar at the airport. But, I was just having a pint of Guinness there.
That's 5 bars already.
Well, I was there for nearly a week. I was there for 5 days.
No, you were 4 days.
4 days, yeah.
You spent 1 day flying there and back. So 4 days, 4 bars so far.
Okay. How many bars have you been in since I've been away?
Very few.
Harry's Bar in Wigan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any others? Good place.
What about that fort you tried to go to the other week? I mean, most people try to break out of forts. You were trying to break in.
It was terrible. I was
some place in the middle of the Solent.
It was actually, yeah. It's one of the Napoleonic forts, and this right.
Why are you going to a Napoleonic fort?
Well, it was a family treat actually. It's a family birthday, so I said we'll all go across the Solent to a Napoleonic fort. Anyway, we got this boat.
Well, what's going on at the Napoleonic fort?
Well, it's been converted into a luxury hotel and restaurant. You see.
Oh right. And it's got a bar then.
Well, I don't know because I didn't get on it. So what happens is the old captain.
How'd you get there?
Well, I'm going to tell you. No, it's amazing. All these people pile on this boat, which actually wasn't much bigger than a fishing boat. In fact, it was.
So it was sort of like a tugboat.
Yeah, it was sort of tugboat. Yeah. It was, and I the first thing I said, funny enough, so I got on board was I said, "Which way's the bar?"
Yeah,
and they said, "Oh no, the bar's on the other one. This is the smaller tender." You know.
I see.
I said, "Okay." But anyway, they're hauling all this luggage on, and I'm not joking. It's Louis Vuitton and really top class.
So these are
stuff.
people who are going to spend the night then.
Well, yeah, or a couple of days or something like that. So they all...
a bizarre place to go though.
Well, no, it's very. I mean, did you see the pictures I put out of it? They're huge.
I've looked at the. I've seen them in the sea there.
That's
and
right.
I've looked.
They are in the sea actually because they're in the middle of the Solent.
Yes, what I mean. But when I was there, I saw them.
Yes.
And I've also considered staying there.
Yeah.
Because I thought it might be quite
very
good
expensive.
Fun.
But
it is quite expensive, but it's a bit odd though.
Well, no, but anyway, so all this luggage and all. Anyway, so old Captain Pugwash, who's steering the ship, the only member of crew, right? Well, no, there's a guy at the back actually who was throwing the boys out and all this kind of stuff. Yeah. But he drives it as though it's a car because he sits in a seat at the front of the boat, right behind the windscreen, with his steering wheel, and off we go, you see.
Has it got a roof, this thing?
Well, it's got half a roof. This is the whole point.
Right.
It's got half a roof.
It's like a launch, in other words.
Yes, like a launch, yeah. So anyway, it's okay in Portsmouth Harbour. Then we get out to sea in the Solent, and all of a sudden the waves go from like 6 inches to 6 feet. So the boat's rocking around all over the place, and all these women are going, not because of the sea, but because they're Louis Vuitton bags are getting covered in salt spray and all this kind of stuff, you know. So anyway, we get up to the fort, and the whole pugwash goes round it 3 times.
Is there like a set of stairs you're meant to go up or something?
Well, it's amazing. There's a bloke
you just sort of hurl yourself onto it?
No, there's a bloke on a balcony about 40 feet up, and he's swinging this bit of rope. and I think the second crewman is supposed to sort of catch the rope and then haul the boat in, you know what I mean?
Right.
But anyway, the old pugwash
mad thing to do.
3 times. He gets in, and all of a sudden this wave picks us up and goes bang, and the boat smashes against this, this steel structure. Right. At which point, Pugwash said, "Not having this," and he put it in reverse and shot off. And the bloke on the 40-foot is still waving the rope around, because if we don't land and get on there, then there's not 40 people spending lots of money in the hotel.
So where'd you go for lunch instead?
Went to
Weatherspoons.
No. We went to the Spice Island Inn.
I thought it was shut.
No, it's the other one. The Stillham West is shut for renovation opposite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's very nice indeed.
And was there a bar in there?
Yeah, there was, actually.
No, it was, good.
Quite an extensive
All right, now let's talk about, just finally, because we're about to run out of time.
Yes.
Millwall, who I have supported through thick and thin,
after
you disgracefully suggested they should all move out of London
and
go
said
to North Kent.
Give them a democratic choice.
They've, I think, come to the end of the road for the FA Cup, as far as I'm concerned, because they're now playing Tottenham at White Hart Lane.
I think you're right.
You can't really see that happening for them, can you?
No, you can't, to be honest. Tottenham are really good, because I was down there last week, of course, with Everton, and I was reminded, rather curtly by my host in the box that they are second in the league, Spurs, but I said, but they're still 10 points behind Chelsea.
You must have been a bit gutted at that game, actually, because it was 3-2 in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3-2, Everton got a goal. But anyway, talking about that game, I see a picture in a national newspaper this morning of a fine-looking Teddy Sheringham, looking svelte and fit, and as he always has done. Yeah. And not a bad-looking Tony Cascarino, a colleague who was in this very studio a few minutes ago.
He's just moving my car, actually.
He's moving your car, that's right. Yeah, he's down to that sort of thing these days, Tony, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But 2 young, fit footballing men.
Time, to be honest.
And if you saw Teddy Sheringham today, you'd say, wow, he's, weathered well. Yeah. But, of course, we've just seen 2. Tony Cascarino, Cass, and...
Well, Tony's a bit older, though, isn't he?
Well, is he? Or was he just a little more out of shape?
No, I think he played a little longer ago.
He played longer ago, did he? You think so? Well, they played in the same team together at Millwall, so... But anyway, I'm sure Tony will address the situation, because obviously when you see a picture of yourself at your peak, you don't like looking in the mirror, do you?
I don't know why you're picking on him, to be honest.
I'm not picking on him.
Very unfair.
No, good friend.
Very unfair.
I'm going slightly mad. I'm going slightly mad. It finally happened.
A couple of people have pointed out that Manchester United have already, of course, won the League Cup.
I said that. I've said he's got a League Cup trophy in his cabinet, and he wants to do a treble of cups.
Well, he's hardly going to end without a trophy at the end of the season if he doesn't win anything else.
Well, but I know that his first trophy at Chelsea was the League Cup, but it was also in the same season he won the Premier League.
Yes.
So
Mark's not very happy.
I think it'll be a poor return.
Mark says, I can't believe that plank Parry has predicted a United win against Chelsea.
Yes, I have.
He's just jinxed us.
Well, I don't want to jinx you at all, but I just feel that that's the way the season's going to go. I think Jose is picking up libido, momentum, pace.
Libido? What do you keep saying libido for?
Well, in footballing terms, okay?
Footballing libido?
Yeah, footballing libido.
What does that mean?
Well, footballing libido is when you're on your game and you're getting better and you're starting to go up through the gears and the synchronicity that you're looking for is starting to emerge.
I thought that was the name of a police album.
Synchronicity, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. How about this one from Andy?
Yeah.
Porky sounds surprised at a boat with a steering wheel.
Yes.
What was he expecting? The Golden Hind?
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? No, of course I wasn't. But it's a bit odd.
There's a replica of the Golden Hind down by Borough Market.
That's right, yeah. No, but what I mean is you don't often see a guy who's driving a boat actually sitting in front of you. He's usually on the the bridge above you, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, it depends on the size of the boat.
Yeah, I suppose it does.
I mean, if it's a rowing boat, he's sitting right in front of you and he's rowing.
This was only a bit bigger than a rowing boat, actually, to be
Sounds
honest.
like a terrible outing.
Like a motorised rowing boat.
You should really spend a bit more money on your sister instead of going to these kind of knockoff, Napoleonic forts.
Excuse
me. It's your birthday. Let's go to a Napoleonic fort. It'd be great.
It's very expensive. Very expensive.
Well, what money did it cost you getting there in a useless boat that didn't work?
What?
How much was the boat trip?
Well, I can't go into that.
It was probably free, right?
No, it was not.
Free transfer.
No, it was not. And I'm not revealing it because, of course, people listen to this show and I want to go report back to my sister about the amount of my wealth that I'm, putting into her birthday.
All right. see, a lot of people are being very congratulatory to me about giving up the old fags.
Yeah, well...
Here's one from Curly, who says, well done, Mike, for giving the fags the heave-ho. Can Porky give up lying and exaggerating for the same period?
Oh, that's very nice, isn't it? I'll ignore that.
Now, unfortunately, you have also set this hair running, which is entirely untrue.
Yes.
From Lee, who says, Porky, it sounds like old MG has gone from 20 cigarettes a day to 20 bars a day.
Yeah.
Good to hear you back.
Yeah,
I have not visited 20 bars in a day, okay? No, it's not my
I bet you did last week, though.
No, I didn't.
I bet you did.
No, I'll tell you what I did. I got to Kennedy Airport around about 8:30 on Saturday night after we did this show. I had a couple of drinks on the plane, but not many.
No, not many. No,
not many.
No.
I then
average
got a
of
car.
1 an hour, 2 an hour.
Maybe something like that.
2 an hour. Oh, that's 16 drinks then. That's
no,
not
it wasn't
many,
an
is
8-hour flight. No, it wasn't an 8-hour flight.
How long was it then?
It took about 7, I think.
7, so 14 drinks.
No, because you don't count the first hour because you don't get a drink for an hour. Because,
what about in the lounge before you leave?
Hours.
What about the lounge before you leave?
Yeah, I had a couple of beers in the lounge before I went.
A couple? Yeah.
Because I was in the first class lounge. Of course.
Nobody believes a word you say about your alcohol intake.
No, of course I'm not the one that tells lies about my alcohol intake. I'd be quite happy to give you chapter and verse. I then got to my sister's house in Connecticut to meet my mother at around about 10:30.
Yeah.
Very quick trip.
Yeah.
Only two. It was a good time to go, actually. Only took me 2 hours. So then we had some wine up there.
Yeah.
And then
some wine.
Yeah.
I've met your sister before. I would say considerable amounts of wine, okay?
Some very nice red wine, actually. She got down in the cellar. She
could join my sister at the Betty Ford Clinic, believe me.
Yeah, absolutely right. Now, a couple more tweets to give you. A couple of people are asking, can they buy the Porky scratchings outside of Wigan?
Oh, of course. They're going to be sold nationwide. I mean, my mission is to smash the glass wall that exists between north and south when it comes to bar snacks, and in particular, Porky scratchings.
What are you talking about, glass wall?
Yeah, there's a glass wall. My mission is to spread Porky scratchings, pork scratchings, I should say, but they just happen to be.
But the first time I had pork scratchings was in Wiltshire. There's plenty of pork scratchings for sale in the south.
I'm talking about the metropolitan elite southeast of England. They need introducing to pork scratchings. That is my mission. I'm going to do it. In 5 years' time, due to me, we will be a nation of pork scratchings munchers.
Well, they're not very good for you, are they?
Well, lots of things could be said not to be good for you, but I believe pork scratchings are. And by the way, already the testers that I've employed to test them say they are porkier and softer on the teeth than any pork scratchings I've ever had.
And who's paying for all this?
Well, it's an issue.
You're not taking it out of the Two Mikes Fund, I hope.
Not taking it out of the Two Mikes Fund. Don't worry. It'll become a national phenomenon.
Really?
And already we've had an inquiry from Australia for somebody who wants to acquire the Australian rights.
Well, a franchise.
The franchise to the Porky scratchings down there. Now, listen, this one here I don't understand. This note here. Parry, that's me, presumably.
That is you.
It's Mr. Parry to you, or Porky. You despicable moron. That's very nice, isn't it? You have just waxed lyrical about the pseudo-north, i.e. Wigan.
Yeah.
Yet in the past, you have stated that you would not go through the Tyne Tunnel in order to avoid the south. I've never said that. I've never been anti-north, have I?
Well, you moved down here, didn't you? And you've never gone back. So, I mean, I guess that's about as anti-north as you can be.
Yeah, well, I've always said that actually...
Well, you pretend, you pay lip service to the north of England and try to make out that I somehow hate it, which is incorrect.
You do. You would not have been welcome in Harry's Bar in Wigan.
Not true. Well, I was welcome in Harry's Bar in New York because that's the kind of guy I am.
Yeah.
Now, a couple of other tweets from one from the Two Mikes FC. He says, would Mike Parry care to talk us through his culinary arrangements on the train last night? Before it all kicked off on Twitter. This is, of course, that ridiculous-looking sandwich that you sent a picture of out.
Why?
Well, because you loved Wigan so much that you hot-tailed it out of there at about 7:30.
No, I
mean, considering you had a party that you were supposedly hosting, you were back on a train south about as fast as you could be.
This is completely untrue.
What time was the picture you sent out of the train?
About 9 o'clock.
You want me to double-check?
Yeah, I think you'll find it about 9 o'clock.
Okay. So how many hours were you actually in Wigan for?
Oh, a good number.
What time did you get there?
What time did I get there?
About 5?
No, I didn't. No, that's outrageous. I got there at about 2:30.
2:30.
And I left about 8:30. So I was there a good long time.
A good long time?
Yes, I was indeed. Yeah.
Well, let me see. The picture of you on a train is at 8:21.
Yes.
Right.
8:21.
So how long was the party?
A long time. It went on a long time. A lot of people there to greet and meet, and some very nice people. true northern grit. That's
There's a picture here. Heavy police presence at Wigan Station as Portmeister's train is about to arrive.
Yes.
That is timed at 4:39.
No.
So you spent actually less than 4 hours at Wigan.
No. I took
spent less than 4 hours there.
Excuse me. I took that picture on arrival, but didn't have the opportunity to put it out until 2 hours later.
Oh, I see.
Because I was busy setting up the.
So this is the kind of deception that you practice, is it? On Twitter.
Excuse me. Setting up the technical arrangements, and constructing the stage in Harry's Bar.
It looks about the right sort of light for 4:39.
No. You'll find that's not it's not true. Anyway, look, we've got to move on because there are things we have to do.
Let me show you the way to go. I don't know everything, but there's something I do know.
You asked for this piece of music.
Well, I didn't ask for it, but I did point out to the boys who are very on the ball.
They are. It's
very
true.
on the ball.
Yeah.
That Marlon Jackson, who of course is the late Michael Jackson's brother and leading member of the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
Well, there were only 5 of them, obviously.
Well, that's right. When you say leading member, he was one of them, right?
Well, it was Michael.
Presumably. Can you name them?
4 others.
Michael, it was Jermaine Jackson, who once threatened to sue me for $28 million.
Right, yeah.
After I wrote a piece, or I did a piece in the Express, which
How did
he
that
then
go?
said, well, he never did.
No.
You know how all these guys are always threatening.
Exactly.
I'm coming after you for $28 million.
Yeah.
And you go, well, we'll wait for the letter then, shall we?
Well, actually,
it never happened.
Funny enough, when I wrote some spoof lyrics for a Michael Jackson hit, like Off the Wall or something, I got a phone call from that lawyer in New York saying that'd be $50 million for breaking the...
For ripping the copyright.
Ripping the copyright off.
Absolutely.
But no, quite seriously, Marlon Jackson's 60 years of age today.
Right, okay.
So he was, I think he was one of the older brothers, wasn't he? But what amused me was that at the height of Michael Jackson's fame, when you and I were, screaming through New York and towns in America, everywhere you went, Michael Jackson was the biggest name in the whole of the world.
Was, yeah.
And about every 12 months, the brothers would go knocking on the door of Neverland like this, wouldn't they? Hey, Michael, we got no money. We're going to go back on the road.
That sounds like The Godfather.
Yeah, that's right. So they'd have to do...
Michael Corleone.
That's right. They'd have to do a revival Jackson 5 tour, wouldn't they? And I went to see one. I went to see one at Radio City in America. In New York. Yeah. And I've still got the programme, believe it or not. I found the programme at home a few weeks ago. And
did you see the Rockettes while you were there?
I didn't see the Rockettes, no. But that was the only way they earned money, because, of course, Michael Jackson was he was the king of pop, the world's biggest pop star, earning about $50 million a year. Somehow managed to accumulate $300 million of debt from somewhere, and the brothers were just like, I don't know, flipping burgers and that sort of stuff.
Well, believe it or not,
obviously.
On one of my many travels, when I went to a couple of various locations to spy where we could do a show, the City Winery is putting on, and this is the people the sort of calibre of people they put on. Next week, your old mate Art Garfunkel is going to be playing there.
Is he?
When I went to see the lady in charge, who's called Hannah, what's his name? A guy called Todd Rundgren was playing. I don't know whether you remember him from the 70s, and he was he was doing a sound check while I was there. And it's a magnificent place. They make their own wine. It's perfect for you because they'll never run out. Basically, they've got barrels and barrels of the stuff.
Sorry, you're the one who's been trailing the parts in New York last week, not me.
Well, I've been giving everybody a heads up about the kind of wine volume they're going to need to supply if we do a show there.
See anybody else famous in New York?
I saw a couple of other famous people, but I can't reveal quite anything about that at the moment.
Right? Okay.
But I will be able to.
Maybe that will filter out.
I think in the next few days I might be able to tell you a couple of stories.
Right, okay, that sounds good. Yeah,
but it was a very exciting time.
Got to clear the decks, have you, and all that kind of stuff.
Yes, exactly right. That's exactly what I have to do. Now, a couple of other tweets have come my way.
Yes.
Brian, who was with you last night, says, Porky's setting up the technical aspects at Harry's Bar, no help needed. And there's a picture of you looking very determined.
Yes,
up there.
Absolutely.
I'm not quite sure what you were doing.
Yeah, I think Brian's trying to make out that I'm some sort of, juice head when it comes to sticking the pins in the right plugs and all that kind of stuff.
And one from Maxwell, who says, welcome back to the Airways. While you were away, you missed my birthday. So, Maxwell, I guess we could wish you a happy birthday.
Maxwell, Silver Hammer.
Claire has also been asking for a shout-out just because she's gone for a family breakfast.
Who?
Claire is one of our listeners.
Has gone for a family breakfast.
She works for BA, by the way.
She works for BA?
Yeah.
Claire, we love you.
Yeah. So we might be talking to her a bit later.
Do you have upgrade opportunities for
don't
flying
be so
broadcasters? Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Do not be so brazen. I'll tell you what we do have. We have an opportunity to talk to the Sunday Times foreign editor, Mr. Peter Conradi, who is here with all the big stories that he's going to be availing us with over the course of the next 24 hours.
Indeed.
Peter, a very good morning to you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good morning to you both.
Now, just before we move on to the big stories of the week, right? Apparently, there's a package that's arrived addressed to the two mics here from South Korea.
That's
now,
right.
by coincidence, you've got a story about South Korea, so I wonder if it has in any way got a connection to our package.
It might well. No, there's a lot of very sort of strange stuff going on in South Korea. I mean, it's not a country that people normally follow the politics of, but it's in complete turmoil at the moment because they've just forced out the president, the female president there, who's been involved in a really sort of murky, complicated financial scandal involving a cult and various other kind of.
They eat a lot of dogs there as well, Pete, don't they?
They do what?
They eat a lot of dogs there.
They do eat a lot of, and a lot of pickled cabbage as well, don't they? It's a bit of a lethal combination. Plus, they've got a fairly unpredictable neighbour as well.
They certainly have.
Yeah.
So
why has everybody got suddenly? Why suddenly everybody got trigger happy? I mean, is it now becoming look after yourself type territory?
I think it's a part of the world where all the other things going on in the world, be it Donald Trump, be it things going on in China and so on, they're all coming a little bit to focus on the Korean Peninsula. It's obviously a sensitive place because you've got the country still divided into the communist north and the capitalist south, and you've got ultimately it all boils down to how you can keep Kim in the north under control and stop him with his sort of test firing of missiles and his general sort of mischief making.
Sure.
And it's basicui a bit of uncertainty because we've got Trump now in America and no one quite knows what he's got to do. And the Chinese also, who are meant to kind of keep the North Koreans down, who haven't been really succeeding. Kim, it really all boils down to Kim being out of control.
He is a little bit unpredictable, isn't he? I mean, I have to say, Peter, I was in and around Trump Tower just a few days ago, and the Manhattan sort of that I knew when I lived and worked over there has completely changed. You cannot now get very, very close to Trump Tower from any side of it. They put up a massive sort of police unit at one end of the street, which is down by Madison Avenue. They put one of those, those blocks so the cars can't drive through.
Right,
that goes up and down. The people that live there apparently have gone mad because every time they have to go out, they have to walk past this phalanx of security, and it's just a nightmare.
Well, I was imagining that you would have been invited in like Nigel,
yes,
taken
exactly.
out.
Well, you see,
that didn't happen then.
I'm afraid you'd be mistaken about that, even though you would assume that just because we're on talk radio that we're right-wing types that would like to see us out of the European Union. Absolutely incorrect. You've jumped to the wrong conclusion there.
Oh dear.
In fact, I was hanging out with the Women's March, which was marching down Fifth Avenue for International Women's Day.
This wasn't it? International Women's Day.
Wanted to make a lot of noise and basically lynch Donald Trump was what they seemed to want to do.
Absolutely. Now, a bit closer to home, Europe, Angela Merkel and Angela Merkel and Mrs. May may have a few explosions. Yeah, absolutely.
Why are you calling her Mrs. May?
What?
Theresa May, you call her.
Well, she is known as Mrs. May, and she is the Prime Minister.
I don't like that.
It's very formal.
It is very formal, but I'm a formal sort of a guy. But anyway, our Prime Minister and Angela may be...
so it's Mrs. May and Angela, is it?
That's right, Mrs. May, the Angela and
as long as we got the form and style right.
They could be at odds a bit this week, couldn't they, Peter?
Well, they could be or they couldn't be. I mean, basically, no one knows. It's all about the famous Article 50 that we've heard so much about since last June. And it's a question of will she trigger it, won't she trigger it, or rather, when will she trigger it? All sorts of speculation around. I mean, I was talking to our political editor this morning because there were stories in the papers this morning saying next Tuesday already she's going to formally tell the rest of the EU, right, that's it, we're off now. He's a bit sceptical. He thinks that even she doesn't know quite when she's going to say it, and her advisors don't really either.
No, there's no sense that anyone's really in charge of the clattering train on this one, is there?
I think you've hit the nail on the head, really. I mean, particularly after the budget, where the U-turn came even quicker than expected. But it's clear she's going to have to do it. But it's as ever with the kind of the European calendar, it's a little bit crowded because they've got elections in Holland on Wednesday, where the sort of the far right is expected to do quite well, so they don't want to play into that. Plus, the EU is having a big party on March the 25th, which is the anniversary of the founding treaty, and they don't want to be seen to be sort of pooping on the pooping on the party, really. So
No.
it's a timing thing, really.
No,
Sure,
exactly
absolutely.
right. And you're straying into a bit of a sort of an FA
Sporting
Cup
world.
area, aren't you, with the rise of the Cowleys?
Indeed,
because they
yes.
are hitting the big time today, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be extraordinary. I mean, are they going to win? I don't think so. But I mean, to have got as far as they've got is absolutely amazing, isn't it? I mean, a few years back they were, I think, playing with a sort of crowd of 62 people somewhere, which is amazing.
Yeah.
No, I mean to see just how well they've done so far, and I mean particularly beating Burnley, it's just amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, have
really
you worked out, Pete, who is the brains and who is the brawn of that relationship? Because obviously, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel, one was the brains and one was the brawn. There's always, in Wham, George Michael and the other guy, used to prance around with a guitar.
Andrew Ridgeley.
So who's the star of these two brothers at Lincoln?
Well, Danny and Nicky. Well, I mean,
yes.
Danny's the boss, isn't he? And Nicky's the assistant.
Yes.
I think your guess is probably better than mine, actually. You're asking a foreigner, did after all. Lincoln's not that foreign.
No, well, you say that, but it's in a remote part of Great Britain. Most people haven't
remote.
been there.
What do you mean remote?
Well, it is.
Lincoln is in Lincolnshire.
Yeah, well,
it's
Lincolnshire's
quite
quite
central,
remote.
isn't it?
There's no motorways in Lincolnshire.
Lincolnshire is not remote.
It is.
No,
I'm telling you.
You can get to Lincoln quite quickly from North London.
But I mean, what I'm saying is, Pete, that what will happen is one of these days, you see, they'll get offered a job at a top club. Obviously, they're going to move on, and it'd be very, very interesting to know if they move as a team or if one of them goes one way and one goes the other.
Oh, I see. You're
Could
already
be a
trying to
family
say-
rift.
It'll be a bit like Ant and Dec when they went to get their honours, won't it? And they weren't quite. They were a bit confused because they got separated out in the order.
Yes.
Really.
You're trying to sow division,
No, not
as
at
is
all.
your wont.
Not
Listen,
at all.
Peter, thank you very much
Thanks,
indeed,
mate.
as ever. We'll look ahead to what's coming up in the Sunday Times, because that will be, of course, something that everybody turns to tomorrow. How about this from Kai, who's tweeted at the two mics? The last 3 times Everton have faced West Brom at home, Everton have failed to score. I predict more pain for Porky today.
I do not predict pain at all for
Really?
Porky today.
Okay,
Definitely
well,
not.
we shall see. This is Talk Sport.
Tweet here I've got to read out, please.
Yeah, go on.
Typical of old MG hanging out with the Women's March in New York City, trying to make out that he was, not interested in it, but an opportunity for a man with the morals of an alley cat.
Incorrect. I don't think they would have welcomed that sort of behaviour in that kind of environment, to be honest.
That's very
How about this from Paul?
condemnatory.
Lincolnshire, it's up there with the Outer Hebrides. It's difficult to get to. Porky, you plank.
Hey,
I mean, you said it was a remote part of Britain.
Well, it's not the most accessible part of Britain, Lincolnshire, is it? And certainly the city of Lincoln. Have you been to the city of Lincoln?
I don't believe I have.
Neither have I.
So,
And
that
if you
doesn't
walked-
mean that it's remote.
If you
That
walk...
does not mean that it's remote. I used to know a guy who came from Lincoln.
Yeah.
If that helps.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah.
right, great. If you walked up and down Lime Street in Liverpool for 2 hours, if you walked up and down the High Street in, say, Bristol for 2 hours, and if you walked up and down
Bristol doesn't have a high street.
Sauchiehall Street for 2 hours, you wouldn't find anybody who'd ever been to Lincoln. Put it that way.
I don't think that's true.
No, you wouldn't.
I think that's
No, you
absolute
wouldn't.
nonsense. I don't know why you've now picked on so many of the
No,
cities of
I'm
Britain.
only
You're
speaking
now
the
picking
truth.
on Lincoln specifically. You're trying to put the heckles on them because you want Arsenal to win the game, which is a pretty disgraceful thing anyway.
Yeah. Now, listen, there's a lot of radio broadcasters in this country, OK?
There certainly
now,
are.
just imagine if all of a sudden you became the last one.
What?
Like the last of the Mohicans.
Why
Remember
would
that
you
film?
become the last one?
Well, because I'm about to tell you in a second. Remember The Last of the Mohicans, by the way?
It's
Wasn't
not
that
a very good film.
Oh, it was
Terrible.
a great film.
No, it's a terrible
I
film.
thought it was a great film. I thought it was great when that woman...
Daniel Day-Lewis, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's another one of these films where nothing happens for hours on end.
No, it was great because that woman jumped off the cliff. She jumped off the cliff rather than be subjected to attention from
I know how she
unwanted
feels.
people.
I've often thought about hurling myself out the window here at Talk Sport, so I don't have to work with you.
Pathetic thing to say. Anyway, I thought I'd just tell you about The Last of the Mohicans because, in fact, there is a chap called Alistair Sims.
Alistair Sims?
Sims,
What,
yeah.
the guy that used to be in the old St Trinians movies?
No. It's a
Different
different one. He's 53. But he is the last Cooper in this country.
The last Cooper? Is that like something to do with horses?
No, you fool. Do you know
what's
what a
a
Cooper
Cooper?
is? A Cooper makes barrels.
Barrels?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he's the last barrel maker in this country.
Oh, I don't believe that.
It is. He
No,
is.
he probably thinks he is.
No, he
There'll
isn't.
be loads of people making
No,
barrels.
there isn't.
Well, I've just been to the City Winery in New York, right?
Yeah.
They've got loads and loads of barrels. They've got big... those.
And they import them from this country, do they?
I don't know where they make them,
No,
but
well,
what
I'm
I'm saying
telling you,
is
he's the
one
last
of the
Cooper in this
What I'm
country.
saying is one of the most popular things that you can see in all parts of the world at the moment are microbreweries.
Well,
right?
you should say that.
And small wineries where they actually need more and more barrels. barrels.
Funny you should say that. The only other Cooper in this country was some guy who was 72, Lee Skinner.
So he's not a Cooper at all. Terry Cooper, I remember, from Leeds.
That'd be ridiculous.
He's left back.
Lee Skinner, 72, retired last week, where he made barrels in Liverpool. Now, this left Alistair.
That's nonsense. I can't believe there's only one left.
He is the only barrel maker.
Oh, rubbish.
I've been picking up on this for a couple of days.
What happens when he takes a day off?
Well, he makes a barrel the following day. I mean, you don't have to make a barrel every day.
There must be a freelance barrel maker that
what
comes
you've
in.
just said is actually touching on exactly the position. Barrel making almost died out in the 60s and 70s when breweries turned to kegs, metal kegs, which are made of aluminium.
That's right.
And which roll like better than
well, funnily enough,
barrels.
in the City Winery, where they actually distill, well, I suppose where they mash the grapes up,
yes,
and then put it into the big metal sort of barrels.
Yes.
They're not really barrels; they're sort of tanks.
Sure.
But then they put it into wooden barrels.
Yes, that's right. Well, anyway, the point is, because of these microbreweries that you're talking about, there's now a renewed demand.
Good.
And do you know the skill goes back to the Roman times? The Romans invented how to make a barrel.
Yes,
you realise that?
I did know that. Yes.
Did you know that?
I think I did know that.
Now, you see, I think this is terribly interesting.
Well, so now that he's a businessman, this guy, presumably he's going to hire more Coopers, right?
Well, yeah, but it takes 7 years to train a Cooper properly.
Price Waterhouse Coopers, there's another Coopers for you.
You are such an oaf.
People like this kind of thing.
Now then, let me tell you about a barrel story in which I rescued distraught drinkers. Sorry, what you
rescued distraught drinkers?
Yeah.
Was it from that medieval fort you were trying to visit?
No. I go into this booze.
Man overboard.
No. This was in Surrey Stockbroker Belt.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And one morning I'd been walking across the Downs. I go into a boozer that opens at 10 o'clock. So
funny that you knew it was open at 10, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I set off at 8:30, actually.
Yeah.
'Cause I was only went there for breakfast, obviously.
Of course.
So anyway, I walk in, and there's all these glum-looking people sitting around. And
well, people that drink at that time in the morning tend to be a bit depressed. I think you'll find.
That could be a point. So there's all these glum-looking people sitting around, right?
Yeah.
And so I got up to the bar and I said to this guy, order some breakfast. I think I'll have that with a nice pint of ale, please.
Yes.
And the guy said, I'm sorry, we've only got the stuff in the metal barrels. Well, casks, are they called?
I don't know,
yeah.
What, you mean the chemical stuff as opposed to the real ale?
That's right.
The rubbish.
So I said, no, hang on. I said, one of the reasons I come is you've got a great range of real ales.
Real ale.
I said, and, you've got 6 pumps here. But then I noticed that the badge on the front of the pump had been turned around on each 6 of them.
I see.
So I said, what is the problem? You can't possibly have run out of beer. He said, no, we haven't. He said, but we had a big party here last night and all the real ale beer is gone. We've only got the stuff in the cask.
So they have run out of it then?
No, this is the point of my story. If you just shut your mouth for a minute.
Look at the time. The show's nearly over.
So I said,
care less
do you
about
mean,
the story.
Do you mean you haven't got any barrels of beer in your cellar?
Yeah.
He said, oh, yeah, we've got them. And I said, well, why don't you just put another one on?
Yeah. You ever get the sense this guy didn't work there at all?
No, he said, well, I'm the only member of staff and last night before they went home, they didn't tap the barrel, and I don't know how to. I said, you don't know how to tap a barrel?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I
what
said,
a ridiculous story.
I said, take me to the cellar. So I went on the cellar and I got the mallet and the plug and bang.
So how did you know how to do it?
Because I was trained to do it
when you were in Nottingham.
Yeah, that's right. When I worked in the pub in Nottingham, the 19th and 21st Lancers.
That's the first thing you've ever been able to actually do. You usually have to ask other people to help you.
Anyway, I came back from the cellar. Round of applause. Hey!
Yeah.
Because I'd, liberated
you were
all
leaving then, were you?
Hey?
Was that because you were leaving?
Because I'd liberated all these glum drinkers who didn't have any beer, but they did after I stepped in.
Oh, well done.
How about that?
It's the first decent thing you've ever done in your life.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
By the way, the Wolf of Main Street, Pete, his name is, says Lincolnshire does have a motorway. It's the M180.
The M180. It's not a real motorway, though, is it?
Well, it's got an M in front of it.
Yeah, well, to get into Portsmouth,
better than the M69 triangle.
To get into Portsmouth, you go down the M275.
Dear.
It's about 300 yards long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how disappointed are you when you get there?
Oh, no. You see, I attack towns, and you attack towns.
I've been to Portsmouth, and it's terrible.
Have you forgotten that we've actually had a communication from a place in Portsmouth who invited us along for a drink or two?
Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to make that, but you never know. You'll have to tell me a bit more about this. This is Talk Sport. Now, I meant to read this tweet out a little bit earlier on. It's from Kate, and you might know about this part of the world. She said, please give a shout out for the Suffolk Cup which is Woodbridge Rugby versus Southwold Rugby Football Club.
Where's that?
Come on, Southwold, she says.
Oh, yeah, well, that's
she
Suffolk.
says it's the Suffolk Cup.
Yes, that's right.
The Suffolk Cup's in Suffolk.
Yes, that's right.
Had a rough guess.
Very close to my place in on the coast there in
Orwell
Suffolk.
Quay.
Orwell Quay, that's the one. Yeah, you know it now.
When was the last time you were there?
Oh, I don't have time
when are you
to
taking me up there?
I don't have time. No, it's not for people like you, honestly. I don't have time to get around all these places all the time.
Halfway to Lincoln if we went there, wouldn't we?
What?
Wouldn't we be halfway to Lincoln?
No, we'd be going the wrong direction because you'd be halfway to Newmarket.
Yeah.
Or maybe
it's up in that direction,
one third of the way to Norwich. But
one third of the way to Norwich.
Lincoln's off the Humber, isn't it? Lincoln's way up.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah. But anyway, how about this from Losty? He says, did you know that Lincoln City's ground is right next to a play zone soft activity centre? Very fun.
Sorry, what is the relevance of that?
Well, somebody just tweeted that in, that it's near a soft activity centre, like a play zone for kids,
Who cares?
Did you see that piece of film, by the way, that great piece of film with the guy?
Yeah, and the kids
funnily enough,
sneaking
he's a
into
South
the door.
Korean expert.
That's right.
But what was the most ridiculous thing about it, right,
Yeah.
was as it was being put out on Twitter, people were being critical of him for being cruel to his kids.
Yes.
Because he kind of coat hangers the guy, the first kid, and sort of shoves him back.
Yeah.
And then this other people said, the mother or the nanny, whoever it is, was being terribly cruel to the children.
Yes.
Pushing them out of the door.
Yeah.
I mean, if people got nothing better to do than complain about something which is actually rather funny and amusing.
I think in order to make myself popular with millions of people around the world, I'd have picked the child up and put him on my knee. You see what I mean? And then people would have thought, wow, what a compassionate.
Yeah, but of course that wouldn't happen to you
father.
because you don't live with any children. You live on your own. So the chance of anyone coming in while you're being interviewed is about 1,000,000 to 1.
Well, of course, your children.
Unless it's Mrs. Mop.
Your children never, got in your way, did they? All those years that you banished them to America. Anyway, I
had some other children.
This is a show in which you won't believe this, but I've told you about the Last Cooper, right? The Last Cooper.
Well, yeah, that's rubbish. Though.
I'm now going to tell you about the Last Lynx, right? The Last Lynx.
What, you mean links to what?
LYNX.
Oh, you mean the last sort of wild cat?
No, I don't. I mean the Navy's last Lynx helicopter,
right.
which is being taken out of service after 40
so they're not going to have
years.
In addition to not having any boats, they're not going to have any helicopters.
Well, if they haven't got any boats to land helicopters on, what's the point of having no helicopters?
Well, you have to have helicopters if you're in the Navy.
Yeah, the point is...
you have to take people from the land and from the boats onto the land. I mean, that's the best way to do it, isn't it?
I was in Portsmouth Harbour the other day. There wasn't a single Royal Navy boat there. There was one in the naval dockyard.
Was this when you were trying to get onto that medieval
Yeah, that's
fort?
right. Yeah. Just imagine if we'd have sunk, or the ship had been sort of swamped and we were in trouble.
Yes.
Where was the Royal Navy?
Well, hang on.
Where was the Royal Navy to rescue me?
Yeah, but you're the very same guy who gives people who go out on these missions to try and cross the Atlantic absolute and utter clog for wasting everybody's time when they have to be rescued.
Yeah, but they're trying to row it and all that kind of nonsense.
You were just trying to go for lunch and you would need to be rescued.
This Lynx, by the way, right?
Yeah.
If 41 years of operations. Now, obviously, when they sort of get rid of these fantastic machines, they replace them with others, except that with the military cuts, which were instigated, first of all, by the former Prime Minister, Mr. Cameron, who I believe to be one of the worst Prime Ministers this country's ever had.
You've made that clear many times.
Yeah, because he scrapped the Ark Royal when it didn't need scrapping.
Is this your 1 minute moan, by the way?
No.
Haven't started it yet?
No, we haven't started that yet, no.
We're going to do it soon.
And they'll replace them with others. But, I mean, to say that, we're down to, I don't know, our last Lynx, it just worries me. These things just worry me.
First of all, we're not down to the last...
worrying about these things.
We're not down to our last Cooper, so you don't worry about that. And they're probably not down to your last Lynx either.
We certainly are.
But we are down to our last few minutes of the show.
Indeed.
And it's time for this.
How long has this been going on? How long has this been going on?
You know what that music means, don't you?
Yes.
And we've only got a couple of minutes, so you can't go over your 1 minute this time.
No, I totally agree.
I think it's about 8-3 to me at the moment.
Right, okay, 8-3 to you.
I'm getting nods from behind the glass.
Are you?
Bizarrely, the producer Ross has given you the last couple, I think.
Yes, that's right.
So it's time for me to get one back.
Yes, okay.
Would you like to go first?
I will go first.
Yeah, go on.
Right.
Start the clock.
Right, this is a positive moan. No, this is a positive moan. I've got to get my head into sync here. It's a positive moan because when I sometimes drive home from here at 4:30am in the morning, I go through a district...
4:30am in the morning?
Yeah. I go through a district of town of London where I am by law required to slow my car down with its 3.5 litre engine to 20 miles an hour because it's a 20 mile an hour zone. There is no other traffic on the road. There is nothing I could possibly hit. There is no way that I am in any way dangerous to anybody else. There's nobody there. But I'm being told you can only drive your car at 20 miles an hour, because if you don't, a flashlight will go off and take a picture of my car, and I'll be fined a great deal of money and given 3 points.
How is this positive?
It's positive because councils now across Britain are saying these 20-mile-an-hour zones don't work. They are anti-pedestrian as well as being anti-traffic, and a number of councils have got together and said that they are going to actually scrap them. That is the best news I've heard in a long time. Moss Side, Manchester, I salute you.
You've got over the top. How is that in any way a positive moan?
Well, because they're getting rid of them.
Well, that's not positive. That's still you moaning about something.
Well, it's me moaning about them, and I think by moaning about them before, I've turned it into positivity. That's why.
I see. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, would you say once again? You finish yours, and you think that's it, right? That's the end of the show.
No. We'll do yours now. Okay, you want a countdown? Okay.
Well, yes, please.
Okay. Supremo, please. 3,
Supremo.
2, 1, go.
Well, my 1 minute moan actually is about car hire companies, right? Because I hired a car for the last time back in October of last year to drive around Sicily. And Sicily's a beautiful place, even though the roads are quite narrow and the people can't drive there very well.
Right.
But I managed to negotiate my way around most of the island. However, just as I came home from New York, I got an email from the car company in question in Roma, which was obviously the headquarters, saying that I had got given some kind of traffic violation, but they couldn't tell me any more about it. And they said, we have passed on your details to the people from Sicily, who are presumably going to send me some kind of bill, which of course will be so late that it will be punishable by death or something, because we're talking about 4 months ago, 5 months ago. I don't understand why these companies who get these various tickets and things can't actually deal with it a bit quicker. I don't remember speeding. I don't remember getting a parking violation of any kind. I've no idea what it is, and I just have to wait and see. And I don't know how it's going to affect my insurance.
Sorry, what exactly was that moan about?
Eh?
What was that
Car
moan
hire
about?
companies being so inefficient that when they get some form of ticket, they don't forward it to you for 5 months.
But that's the longest justifiable moan I've heard in history.
What
Why
do you
can't
mean?
you just say, that wasn't a moan?
That was a moan.
No, it wasn't. It was a pathetic, why me
None at all.
story.
No, like the last one that I did.
It was a pathetic, why does it always happen to me story.
No, it wasn't. It doesn't always happen to me. It's never happened to me before. But the problem is that when car hire companies are involved, they don't seem to be able to move a piece of paper from one side of the desk to the other.
But you
for
haven't
5
had
months.
You haven't had a fine, have you?
No, but I've had a
No,
notification.
so what are you moaning about?
I've had a notification from the car hire company that they're going to charge me €45 just for getting this thing in the first place.
But you haven't had it.
No, I know I haven't had it.
What are you moaning about? There's nothing to moan
because
about.
I still haven't got it. What sort of
Absolutely.
plank are you?
Empty, vacuous moan. You can't possibly win. You can't possibly
Well,
win.
maybe I will. We shall see. I did bring a present for the producer back from New York. Sorry to tell you, Porky, I've been awarded the win again because this, in fact, has happened to other
After you
people.
slipped the bribe in.
No, there was no bribery
It's
involved.
disgusting behaviour.
No, absolutely. That's 9-3 to me. That's almost as
You
big a
didn't
lead
even
as
moan about
Chelsea have
anything.
got. All I can say is talent will out.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM. The warm-up with the two mics on Talk Sport.
Well, I smell toast all the time. I love the